A huge thank you to patron Noreen23505 for suggesting today's video topic. If you want to suggest a topic for next Wednesday's Name Explain video, all you have to do is support Name Explain on Patreon for $1 a month. You can find out more by visiting patreon.com/Name Explain, which will be linked down below. But anyway, the names that we use for the days of the week are different in pretty much every language. But while they might be spelled and said differently, in many cases they all come from the same root. Sunday is perhaps the best example of this. In so many languages, it is named after the sun, and that's obviously super clear to see in the English word of Sunday. But the French dimanche, the Hindi Ravivar, and even the Burmese Tanyinginu all still mean the day of the sun in their respective languages. Beyond this, however, similar patterns in nomenclature crop up in language families too. Like most Romance languages use the names of Greco-Roman gods, while most Germanic languages use the names of Norse or Germanic gods. Many South Asian languages use the name of Hindu gods, while in many East Asian languages, the days of the week are named after the planets and they're assigned classical elements. For example, Japanese names for the days of the week from Sunday to Saturday can be translated to mean the day of the sun, moon, fire, water, wood, metal, and soil respectively. Meanwhile, many Slavic languages simply use numbers to refer to their days of the week. Tuesday's name in Russian, for example, Stuvnik, just means something along the lines of the second day. Now, of course, these are very interesting, but also fairly self-explanatory. Naming days after numbers is more than logical enough, and then most other cultures look to their skies with their gods and planets to find the names of the other days of the week. It's through gods and astrology as to how we ended up with the month's names too. The thing is, while most day of the week names can fall into these categories, there are actually some languages out there which follow their own paths completely when it came to naming these days. One tongue in particular has a wholly unique set of names for their days, that being the tongue of Yoruba. Yoruba might not be a tongue you're all too familiar with, and you know what, that's pretty understandable, especially if you live in the Western world like myself. It doesn't have a huge presence on the global stage, but despite this, it collectively actually has 50 million speakers, and for context, that's around double the amount of people who speak Dutch, a far more recognized language on the global stage. Yoruba is a tongue which is chiefly found in West Africa, and it's most commonly linked with the nation of Nigeria, but it does also have a presence in nations like Benin and Togo too. It is of course the language of the indigenous Yoruba people, and it is part of the Atlantic Congo language family. Specifically, it lies on the Yoruboid branch, and it is by and far the largest language in this branch, making a very unique tongue unto itself. The uniqueness of this language is of course perfectly seen in the names for its days of the week, with Sunday being named Ojo Aku, Monday being Ojo Aji, Tuesday being Ojo Inshagun, Wednesday being Ojo Liu, Thursday being Ojo Bo, Friday being Ojo Eti, and Saturday being Ojo Abameta. And apologies about my pronunciation there, I don't speak Yoruba, unsurprisingly. I barely speak English, just listen to me speak. But anyway, these are of course resoundingly different names to what these days of the week are called in other languages. Like, even if you don't speak Yoruba, like myself, you can tell these names don't match up with any other names. Take their name for Sunday an example, Oju Aiku. That sounds nothing like those aforementioned French and Burmese names for the day. And unlike those words, it doesn't actually mean the day of the sun either. These names do not come from Greek gods or Nordic gods, and they don't even represent the day's numerical order. These names instead come from the religion of the Yoruba people, as well as their traditions in general. Yeah, as well as being the name of a people and a language, Yoruba is also the title of a whole religion these people follow too. Like the language, this religion is actually way bigger than you might have thought. The religion of Yoruba has a number of followers lying somewhere between 50 million to 100 million. That's actually more than the likes of much more well-known other religions like Judaism and Sikhism, an example. This shows us how deeply followed this religion and its traditions really are. And if we were to follow the Yoruba tradition down to a T, we actually wouldn't have 7 day of the week names to cover in this video. We'd actually only have 4. Traditionally, the Yoruba week is split into just 4 days. These 4 days are called Obatala, Orunmila, Orgun, and Sango. Now, I have no idea what days these align with in comparison to our 7 days, but it's probably not worth dwelling over, as they would inevitably end up becoming misaligned with ours anyway. But we don't seem to know what exactly these day names mean either, but they are all seemingly an ode to the Orisha. And what the Orisha are is just a whole can of worms unto itself. They can be simply defined as the deities of the Yoruba religion, but seemingly it is way more complex than that. They seem to actually be a much larger concept that play into various aspects of someone's life. Britannica handily defines them as a complex, multi-dimensional unit linking people, objects, and power, which, you know, is a really simple concept to get your head around in a silly little YouTube video like this one. But these Orisha not only play a role in the names of the traditional 4-day week, but also in those aforementioned 7 days that most Yoruba speakers actually use to keep track of time these days. As mentioned, their week starts on a Sunday, and their name for that day is Ojo Aiku. This actually translates into meaning the day of immortality. This is resoundingly different to it relating to the sun in any way, shape or form, isn't it? The Ojo part at the start of this name actually simply means day, hence why it appears at the start of all their other names as well. And the reason Sunday was dubbed the day of immortality comes down to a story within the Yoruba religion. It was supposedly on this day a very long time ago that notable Orisha or Omila buried the body of another Orisha called Imi, with Imi being the mother of Esu Odala, with Esu Odala being an incredibly important Orisha, being seen as the one who controls law and order and all those important things. But suffice to say, this was a huge moment in the religion, and it was actually on this day that many of the normal people of the world requested immortality from the Oshira. This was perhaps in sadness of the burying of Imi, but that's just my theory on the matter. Obviously, it wasn't possible to give the people immortality, but nevertheless, the story is reflected in their name for Sunday. Sunday, to the Yoruba people, like many other people around the world, see it as a day of rest. Of course, like everywhere else in the world, Sunday is followed by Monday, and their name for Monday, Ojo Aji, means either the day of financial success, or more bluntly, the day of money. I think a lot of us would quite like to have a day dedicated to money, or at least a day where we just, get loads of the stuff. And what I like about this one is the idea that the English language name of Monday could kind of logically mean the day of money too. The mun in Monday could mean money. So next time someone asks me what Monday means, I'm going to tell them it means the day of money too and just, lie to them. I mean, screw the moon. What's that ever done for us anyway? There is a reason as to why this day is dubbed the day of money in Yoruba. And once again, there's a story that was on this day that money came to the Orishas, and this cemented it as the title of the day. I feel like this is the first instance I've ever heard of money being a divine creation. It's not like we read about God making money and capitalism on the 8th day or anything like that in the Abrahamic religions, right? But what this also means is that in Yoruba tradition, Monday actually has a lot of positive connotations to it. Unlike in many places where Monday tends to not be the favourite day of people. It's seen as an ideal day to start business and, well, make money. I suppose this links into the idea that Monday is the start of the working week, which is also prevalent in many parts of the world too. Tuesday, another day people aren't usually that thrilled about, is called Ojo Isugun in Yoruba. This translates into meaning the day of victory. This is a terrific name for a day of the week, and it gives Tuesday a much more upbeat vibe than it normally has. There isn't seemingly an as rich story linked to this name. It is just recorded as being the day that evil forces were overpowered, hence why it's linked with victory. This also means that the day has some deep connotations to it as well. Tuesday is often seen as an ideal day of the week to start something new in your life. Not so much something new in relation to business or finance, as mentioned, those things are linked to Monday, but more things like losing weight or stopping a bad habit like smoking or buying loot crates in some god-awful gacha game. Seriously, just stop doing that. The gaming industry is rubbish as it is. Like, if we would just stop doing that kind of game, we could have more good games just pay for once and enjoy. This is a massive tangent, so I'm trying something new this video. I'm trying to relax the script more and speak in a more casual manner. I don't know if it's working that well, but it's ending up with me doing tangents like this, but we're just going to move on. But what this all establishes is that the Yoruba week starts with some really great vibes. You rest up on Sunday, you make a load of cash on Monday, then you change your life for the better on Tuesday. But by Wednesday, things start to take a turn for the worst. The day's name, Ojoliu, means the day of confusion in the language. It has this title as it was on this day that problems, disruptions, and of course, well, confusion entered the world. It's understandable as to why this led to the day being labelled the Day of Confusion. And once again, there's connotations to this day as well. Wednesday is seen as the day of prayer to the Yoruba people. It's when you should take a little bit of time out your day and pray against the various evils that persist in our world. Like gacha video games. Oh my god, I've got to stop talking about them, otherwise we'll just be on that tangent again. But this name, meaning the Day of Confusion, is a really different vibe to the previous days, but I really enjoy Wednesday being called this, as I feel like it fits with how the wider world feels about Wednesday too. Like, I'm often confused about Wednesday, like, how is it only Wednesday? I swear that this week has been 5 days already and somehow it's only Wednesday, but it confuses a lot of people clearly. Things don't get as down by Thursday seemingly, as this day's name in Yoruba, Ojobo, simply means the day of arrival. This is possibly seen as one of the more religious days of the week to the Yoruba people too. It is called the day of arrival as in their tradition it is seen as the day in which the spirits of ancestors come back to visit their families. Hence why its name means day of arrivals. Because of this, it is often the day festivals begin on in the religion too. The name is also seen as meaning the day of new creations, which is why it's often seen as a good day for things like a wedding or a naming ceremony, or even the ideal day to start building a house or something. So far, more or less all of these days have had a fairly positive vibe to them. But this really takes a turn with Friday, however. Friday is called Ojo Eti, and this means the day of delay. It is seen as being a day with bad omens linked to it. In the religion, it was supposedly a day when Ebita and Ella, who were kind of akin to the religion's Satan and Savior respectively, had a huge, epic battle. It is generally advised to not start anything new on this day, or really attempt to do anything at all due to the fear of failing. Hence why it's called the Day of Delay, as we delay doing the things we want to do on this day. This is a stark difference to how Friday is often viewed in other parts of the world. Friday is a widely celebrated day, and is often seen as the day people start doing things they actually want to do with their life as opposed to, work. There's literally an entire restaurant chain celebrating the fact it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday or whatever it's called. But likewise, Saturday is seen as a great day to most people too. But in Yoruba, not so much the case. Saturday's name, Ojo Abamita, means the day of free suggestions. Now, unfortunately, these free suggestions aren't the free places you should go out for drinks that night, but instead relate to free suggestions in the history of Yoruba. After Ebita and Ella's previously mentioned fight, which led to the naming of Friday, Ebita held a meeting with his cohorts about what to do with Ella. He was left with 3 suggestions. The first of those being he shouldn't be resurrected at all. The second being if he is somehow resurrected, he should not rise up. And thirdly, if he somehow does rise up, he should not ascend to heaven. This has led to Saturday having the same connotations as Friday to the Yoruba people. A day in which you do not try and do anything in case something bad happens. Seemingly the worst thing you can do on a Saturday is bury someone. Unless you're an elder, which is seemingly okay. Once again, this is a seriously different vibe to how many of us view Saturdays. But these are the names of the days of the week in the Yoruba language. And personally, I think they're really cool. Not only are the names themselves interesting and unique, but I adore the themes and ideas they have behind them. I love the idea of having a certain day to start something fresh on, or a certain day to not do anything on either. What I really enjoy most about it is that on Monday, it starts really positively, like I'm going to make loads of money, and then by Tuesday, I'm going to change everything about my life, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to lose loads of weight. But then by Wednesday, it kind of all falls off a cliff. Having that level of optimism at the start of the week, and then giving up completely by Wednesday, is something I really relate to. Name Explain depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explain videos, and your name at the end of the video with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/Name Explain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT, and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and once again, thank you all so much.